Dear friends, welcome to the next session for Information Security Fundamentals. So, in this session, we will talk about how to protect our personal computer from the various threats associated with it and what are the simple things that we need to do technically to protect our personal computer so that we are not bothered by the nasty computers that are there along with us in the internet. At the same time, we do not allow our computer to become nasty through unauthorized software being installed or trying to cause some issues. So let us get started. So we understand that information system is the backbone of any organization and we need to interpret its importance. Because of a minor flaw which could be there in the system, it would remove the trust on that organization, basically the customer's trust on the organization. For example, if we are using a banking software in order to do our bank transactions, and if there is a bug or a flaw in that particular software, then essentially the bank would lose all its customers and it would affect its business severely. It can cost major legal issues as well, because legal issues or laws are already associated with the various processing or information generating organizations. So whenever there are legal issues involved, it means that violation of those laws, that are rules and regulations that are associated with those particular policies and principles, might cost us a huge amount. So we need to understand that we have to maintain and work according to the principles and policies which abide by these laws. Now, if we have a good understanding, our organization can show better productivity as well, because we have a good idea of the entire security related process and none of us or none of it will be affected by any vulnerability which is present there in the internet. It will also help us in taking very effective business decisions. Now, what do we when we are talking about business decision, it is based on information which we have, and interpreting this information, interpreting this data into a meaningful manner so that it could influence our business decisions. Now, if we have security, we are very sure that the data has not lost its integrity and only authorized people can have access to it, and hence it will certainly help us in making correct and effective business decisions. So all of these are extremely important from the perspective of protecting our own personal computer from the various threats which are there in the internet. Now, what could be the challenges through the technology? Now, first of all, we have to identify the challenges and the reason behind those challenges. First of all, today or in today's scenario, attacking a system has become very fast because of primarily of the fast internet speed and the fast processing speed. So one thing is that since internet has become very fast, so even if a worm has to spread, it can spread at gigabit speed or terabit speed. So it has a large pipeline where the worm can now spread through the internet, and that because of that large pipeline, the spread of that particular worm has extended and grown in capacity in terms of bandwidth and throughput over these years for benefit, so that we can access the information fast. But the flip side of it is that in an unsecure network, virus can also spread very fast. So we have to understand that though the internet has expanded, it has grown in capacity, it has also grown in capacity as compared to the virus spread. Similarly, another way of attacking is to go and decrypt your key, or to go and look at quickly to guess your password. Your password has to become stronger and stronger, because now the compute speed are quite high, which means people can compute at a very high speed because of the processors which are improving at a very fast rate. The cost per million instructions per second is just a sub dollar today, which is around 20 to 25. So you have machines with a lot of memory and a lot of processing power with more than one core or CPU core in a small chip today. Even your mobile phones come with either 2 CPUs or 4 CPUs. You can call it as 2 core or 4 cores or quad core or dual core. So we think with such type of increased speed, one can quickly go and do even a slightly naive thing like a brute force method and break your password. They can go and break the password in an easy and effective manner, so that which is posing a threat to the entire system in terms of your security related to your identity. So hence it has become a biggest challenge to the technology, because as far as we understand, because of increasing speed of the internet as well as increasing speed of the processor and the low cost or less expense involved, people are more into this kind of mechanism, into attacking other systems. The next point is sophistication in attacks. Now people have started understanding relates to the various security issues, and they also have the countermeasures for it. That means violating those security measures. Suppose you look at an operating system, they run on millions of lines of code, and it is practically impossible for us to look at the entire 1 million line of code and look for vulnerabilities there. So people now start understanding many of these, and they could come out with more sophisticated attack. So these naive attacks have gone, like the brute force method, etc., which were previously there. So now more sophisticated attacking methods have been introduced, because people can now understand the various codes associated with different software. Now if you have to understand an attack, it takes quite a bit of time. Now by the time the developer, or by the time the owner, or you can understand that an attack has been done, already you have had major losses introduced into your system. The third point is a very quick detection of weaknesses. So the first 2 points that we already discussed, it involves the understanding of the system and then making an attack to the system in the more sophisticated manner within a high speed environment. Now the third point pertains to identification of weaknesses which might be there in the system. For example, there might be a weak password, or there might be a point from which a software can be downloaded in your system. So those are the weakness which might be related to the system, and since people can quickly identify these kind of weaknesses nowadays, so it also poses a challenge to the technology. The fourth point is attacks are not originating from a single place. Now suppose your system has been attacked, and the same attack is being done from the same place again and again. So after around 2 or 3 attempts, you would be able to identify the location as well as the identity of the attacker. However, nowadays in today's scenario, the cyber attacks are done from multiple locations, from multiple systems, and through multiple identities. So it is really difficult to identify a particular attacker and a particular attack, since it is not originating from a single place. The fifth point is difficulty in patching. Now patching relates to the change of settings, rules and regulations of the system in order to address and mitigate the risks. However, it becomes difficult in order to patch, because identification of the attacker itself, it takes a long amount of time, and by that time the attack is already done. So the next we will discuss about the ways in which the PC can be attacked. So when we are talking about our personal computer, we have to identify that what are the ways in which our system can be attacked. The first one is that it can be an identity theft where the password and the personal information is compromised. So basically identity threat refers to the stealing of your user ID and password in order to retrieve and work with your personal information. The second one can be the malware. So when we are talking about malware, they are a set of malicious software which automatically gets downloaded along with some other software without the knowledge of the user, and that particular software, malicious software, can go ahead and attack your files in your computer or might also convert your computer to pose a threat to some other systems in the network. The third is patch management failure. So patches from a security point of view are put to see that certain vulnerabilities are removed or certain vulnerabilities are addressed. So there are some ways, or there are many valid reasons or many practical reasons for how a patch management could fail. We will discuss this in our subsequent sessions, but this patch management undergoes extremely careful ways to design and redesign the system, software and hardware in order to address and remove the vulnerabilities which might be there in the system. But due to certain attacks in the patch management as well, this patch management techniques or methodologies can fail. The fourth important way is the distributed denial of service attack. Denial of service we have already talked about. So it is basically making a system unavailable by flooding the system with requests that are not quite relevant to it and making it busy. So this relates to the unavailability of the system and poses a major threat towards the security goal. So these are the four ways in which a personal computer generally could be attacked. So next, let us discuss about the first threat to a personal computer, which is known as the identity threat. Now identity theft, which is going and finding somebody's password and username and password, is the crime of 21st century. So basically this is one of the most common attacks that is done by the attackers. So damage is more than losing money. When you're talking about losing your identity, it is not just about losing your money. It might also be related to severe impact that might be created in credit rating, sending out bad emails, loss of access to the accounts and manipulation of the data before retrieval. Credit rating refers to the various credit rating that is associated with each of the individual for doing different business transactions. Now suppose you are a customer in a bank and you want to avail a loan, so you will be granted that loan based on certain credit limit that is associated to your account. Suppose your user ID and password is stolen or it is been attacked and retrieved by some attacker. Now that attacker can go and change your email ID in where you get various notifications related to your payments and purchases. So you will now have no information related to any of the payments that has been done or any of the debits and credits that is going on in your account. Now the next step what the attacker does is goes ahead and purchases stuff for himself or purchases things for himself or does business transaction with your account without your knowledge, because you are not getting them in your email or you are not getting them in your getting the updates in your phone number. So by the time your credit goes up and by the time you want to avail a loan from the bank, when the bank will check your account statement, it will find that you are no longer eligible for a particular loan or for a particular service, because your credit rating has gone very, very low or very, very insufficient to avail that particular service. Now, bad emails again can pose a threat, because once the attacker attacks or steals away your password, then he has the full authority over your user account in order to send out malicious and bad emails to whomever he feels like. So it might be difficult, because it might affect your business, or it might be affecting various personal relationships related to sending out of bad emails to that particular person. We will also have loss of access to the accounts. You will no longer be allowed to access into your accounts, because the attacker has already attacked your password and changed it. And manipulation of the data before retrieval. So the data that you are getting, that also can be manipulated using this identity threat mechanism. So the next threat or the next challenge to the personal computers are malware. So malwares are basically spread through emails and unauthorized downloads. So we have already done the Mega Upload case study. So Mega Upload case study was basically, there was a site which had free movies and documentaries as well as files and softwares that can be downloaded, and since it was free, it gained popularity among people, and people used to download those movies and watch them. Now when they used to download those movies, along with the movies some malicious software also got downloaded, and those downloaded softwares were a threat to the computers, to the personal computers, because they went ahead and they changed the entire file system of those users who had downloaded those movies, but without their knowledge. They are also installed with privileges by the user without his knowledge. So basically these malwares come along with some trusted software or trusted document that you want to download from the internet, and they get installed by your own privilege but without your knowledge. So they run in the background, and they generally attack the system in an active or passive manner. Active manner is if the malware directly destroys the files in your system, and passive manner is if the malware makes your system to attack somebody else's system. So these two modes are very, very preferred by the malwares in order to do any type of attack. It might change or destroy the data and observe all the transactions and communicate it, or it can trouble other computers on the network, which is a passive attack, and spread to out of net reachable sources through removable media. Now when we are talking about can spread out of net reachable spread to out of net reachable resources through removable media, we are essentially talking about the USB drives that you use in the system. Now some of the systems might be not connected to the internet. So do you feel that those systems are safe? Actually they are not, until and unless you do not insert a USB or a pen drive into that particular machine. Suppose I have a system which is connected to the internet, and I have downloaded a malware, and without my knowledge the malware is sitting inside my system. Your system is not connected with the internet, so it does not mean that it will not be open to any type of threats. One fine day you come and get a copy of the movie which I downloaded from a particular site along with that malware through a pen drive, and I use the same pen drive in my system which is not connected to the internet. That malware has the capacity of getting or moving inside that particular pen drive and then getting transferred into your machine, which we thought as of now to be safe as it was not connected to the internet. So it can also spread to out of the internet reachable sources through removable media. It is not only the case for pen drive, it can be through any USBs that you might insert into your system for sharing of any files or documents. So malware is a malicious software and it has a huge potential for attack into personal computers either through the active or passive mode. So the other threads we will be discussing in our next session. That is all for today. Thank you.